Today we're talking about some serious business, which of course that depends on your definition of serious. These aren't your $100 or $200 cars, and they're not your $500 and $600 cars. These are both between $300 and $400. We've got the JLB Cheetah. This is the team associated rival MT10, which they have now come out with a version 2, but I'm pretty sure the only difference is the body. These are both very popular choices, and they're both similar in a lot of ways, and they're both different in a lot of ways. They are both 1/10 scale vehicles, even though the Cheetah has this one beat just a little bit on size. There's a ton of information in this video. We are going to do actual field tests like jumping, handling,
durability,
and more than likely we're going to end up having to use my new invention sometime in this video. After all that insanity, we're going to talk about both of them and go over pros and cons. We do a whole lot of awesome RC car stuff on this channel, so subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Neither of these cars are new to me. I have put a lot of miles on them, so this comparison is based off knowledge and experience, plus unclouded, unlimited wisdom. We're gonna start with the Cheetah. First thing I'll say about this thing is it's an absolute animal. It's really fast off the line. It's got a great top speed. It's rated for 3S and 4S. I've never tried it on 4S. I've never even felt the need to. Yeah, I've broken a lot of stuff on this car. We'll go over those things in a minute though. First, I want to talk about its animalistic capabilities. This is not the original motor that this car comes with because my old one broke quite a while ago actually, but it's very similar to the stock motor. It didn't really change its performance at all. These also are not the wheels that it came with. The wheels that it comes with are not that much smaller, but I ended up blowing one of these out pretty early on. That's why it's got these on there. These are amazing wheels. I'll put a link in the description along with everything else, including the trucks, of course. But with its short wheelbase, its powerful motor, and these bigger, heavier wheels, off a pretty normal sized ramp, you can do backflips, double backflips, front flips. So if you plan on jumping it, that's a great quality that it's got. It comes with pretty big sized oil-filled shocks, even though they really aren't all that oil-filled. These shocks, you can see there's a big difference. So when this jumps and it lands, it does have a tendency to bounce pretty badly. Putting some thicker weight fluid in here would probably help. Now this poor thing does actually come with a wheelie bar and a wing. However, the plastic that holds it on is very small and brittle. It definitely makes it look cooler with that wing, but I just decided to put a second front bumper on the rear to give it that protection because this will fall off almost instantly. This one has a 120 amp ESC. They also have an 80 amp version, but I've heard horrible things about it. If you're only going to run 3S, 120 is kind of overkill, but it's also supposedly a much more reliable ESC. I have had no issues with this thing. Potentially one of the only things that hasn't broken on this yet. I swapped this battery connector out. It does actually come with a standard Dean's plug, just like this one. I have a little bit more information on how I made these bars in this video right here if you want to check it out. If you plan on jumping this thing, you really should do something like this because a bad landing right here proves detrimental to the rear end. And that happened a whole lot before I made those. And ever since, I have not done that at all. These red pieces here are upgraded aluminum parts. This front one is also a pretty big weak point, so I put a red piece on there and no issues out of those either. Highly recommend that upgrade almost right away because I probably broke at least 5 sets of those. These are the only ones I can find right now. Once I put the red on there, no breakages at all. More good stuff is this has an actual aluminum and plastic chassis. It's got a main aluminum structure going all the way across, and then it has a plastic tub built over top of it to hold everything and increase its strength. I don't believe it is bent. There is a little bit of an angle change right here in the front, but I'm pretty sure that that's how they achieve their positive caster. Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe it's bent. It's been quite a while since I've run this car, actually, like several months, because I broke the front differential for probably the 4th time, and I just finally got brand new parts in there. It's got a brand new front differential, pinion gear drive cup somewhere in there, pinion gear, and a brand new differential housing. We're gonna go ahead and take this thing outside right now. We're throwing a 3S battery in there. We've already got batteries in the controller. The Cheetah! Already lost front wheel drive. I've been so easy on this thing. We have a missing axle here because it broke over there by the hub. We'll get that replaced right now. We've got a new part and we'll start over. Yeah, we're gonna have to get more footage than that. Repair round number 2. Actually, this is 3. You didn't see the first one. New upper control arm to replace that one. And funny enough, that red control arm bracket that I said never breaks just broke. It is a little bit chilly outside. That is absolutely not helping these poor plastic parts. No more messing around. Okay. Well, never mind. My battery's dead. Sticking with the hand tools. All right, we had a motor lead come apart. So we're just gonna hack this together real quick. That's all it took. She's done again. Well, at least we made it to the pavement that time. Snapped another upper control arm. There's the brand new one. Looks like that's all that broke on it. Oh, no, it's not. We also broke our brand new rear bumper. And we had a solder joint separate from our motor lead. The switch ended up breaking on us too and started acting all weird. So I ended up having to hot wire the switch. If you noticed, when it broke this last time, it was actually just rolling on the ground and it lost the control and did a little cartwheel and crack. That's all it took. Might as well grab all these broken Cheetah parts and dispose of them properly. If you do want to see more on the Cheetah, such as more insanity, upgrades, and reviews, check out my playlist on it right here. On to the rival MT10. This is, in fact, one of my favorite RC cars. You'll get a real good idea of why that is when I'm running it. Plus, after that, I'll give you all the fuzzy info about it. We'll start off showing you the few little upgrades that it's got. One being that I have drywall tape and shoe glued the inside of the body to make it last longer. This is one of the cars that I drive the hardest, so really trying to take care of that. I do have a video where I show how exactly to do that right here. Also, this had the front control arms replaced. This is the RPM branded control arms. The plastics on this car are very, very flexible. That is a good thing. That allows the parts to flex instead of crack and break, at least not as easily. These shocks are oil filled and they just work really well. Probably one of my favorite suspension systems. Still has all of the original Reedy electronics in it. So far, so good. The motor is smaller than the one that's in the Cheetah, but it is also a somewhat smaller and lighter car. Plus, it doesn't have as big a tires. I do like bigger tires on most of my RC cars. However, this one performs so well with what's on it. Not saying I won't try bigger ones later on, but for now, I'm happy with these. It has a very easy to adjust motor mount. This actually comes with a spring behind this bolt instead of washers. I did have it tighten up on me a little bit while driving with the spring, so I just put these washers on. I'm gonna see if it happens to hold its place a little bit better that way. It also comes with a wheelie bar. The wheels did break off. It did take some pretty horrible landings before that happened. And if you run this on 3S, it does wheelie quite easily, though not like the Cheetah. And you may ask, why doesn't it wheelie as easily as the Cheetah? Because this one actually has a center differential. The Cheetah does not. Center differentials are a luxury on RC cars because there are a whole bunch of them that don't have it. I did also end up breaking my on-off switch on this car, so I had to solder the wires together, so as soon as you plug a battery in, it is on. Yep, exactly like we had to do on the Cheetah just a few minutes ago. We have plastic drive axles in the front and the rear. To be honest, I'm not even sure if the center drive shaft is plastic or metal because it is fully covered. However, I know it's in there spinning around doing an amazing job. As far as these electronics go, it is rated at 2S and 3S. And remember that the Cheetah is rated at 3S and 4S, but on 4S, the suspension would probably explode with a throttle blip. 2S is a little slower than I'd like. The majority of this run's gonna be on 3S because the performance is way better. I think that's enough preliminary information on this car. Here we are, starting out with our 2S battery. Check, check, check. Time for some 3S power now. Definitely did it. Oh my gosh, this might be one of my most carnagey videos to date. But don't let this get your hopes up on this car. That crash was awful. So bad. Way worse than it looks on video. Oh my goodness. So upon quick investigation, the only thing that broke is the front differential housing and the front bulkhead mount front chassis piece assembly thing. That is not what I had in mind at all. The good news out of all this, the light at the end of the tunnel, right? Glass half full. We now know that the center drive shaft is metal. All this damage is only $30 in parts, and that's with 2 diff housings, plus a lot of other parts we don't even need, so we'll have extras. Not only is this more reliable because it's easier to control, so really, you're less likely to crash it. It also just has higher quality plastic and very little metal. And that's good because the metal just puts more pressure on all the surrounding plastic parts. When instead, in heavy crashes, all this plastic stuff is just able to flex. This was a different story. However, I do also think that most likely if it was more like 60 degrees outside, it maybe wouldn't have happened. The Cheetah maybe would have broken 4 times instead of 5. We talked about the center differential being awesome. Maybe you were able to see some differences in how they performed because of that. But another cool thing this car has that a lot don't is a sway bar link. This is the rear. There is one in the front as well, right there. And you can see when it's on 3S, even though it has a center diff, it still wheelies, just not as bad as the Cheetah does. You have to be really careful with the Cheetah because it's kind of unpredictable. Sometimes it reacts really quickly and sometimes it doesn't. especially when you're changing throttle directions in the air to try to regulate a land. It doesn't always respond. This thing responds a whole lot better in the air. It's just so much more predictable. It does the same thing almost every time, so you just kind of know what it's going to do. So we can go over a few quick pros and cons and final notes and thoughts on each. Pros for the Cheetah is it's bigger.
That's what she said.
What is wrong with you? The bigger the thing that you're controlling, the more fun, kind of, at least for me. It's better at backflips. It's good at front flips, but it's harder to land just because of all the things I said earlier. The body actually holds up pretty well. It's 4S capable, but I just don't see that working out very well. So cons, it's fragile. It's a little more difficult to work on than your average RC. No center differential. Flips over really easily. Pros for the Rival. It's a front flip master. More forgiving on bad landings. It doesn't like to flip over. More responsive, doesn't bounce that bad. It has a really great suspension system, mostly made of nice, flexible, pliable plastic, but still has metal where it counts. Cons, it doesn't backflip as easily. I am putting no fault on this car that the chassis broke the way that it did. I hit the ramp at the worst possible angle, still going really fast. You may have noticed that this landed stuff a whole lot easier than that other car did because it's just easier to control. So yeah, that other one had a lot of bad landings, and that certainly contributed to the breakage, but that's all part of the package. It's just not as easy to control. In case you're interested, I have links to both of these in the description. Of course, if you want to see more information on that, I have a playlist on it as well. Hit that subscribe button, smash the notification bell. I think that's all I've got for now. We will see you really soon.